I could name favorite theologians that you and I have probably, who have said the dominant motivation of the Christian life is gratitude. The motivating power of a life of obedience is gratitude. And nothing that I have said up till now says that. Where am I going? What am I just totally... here I am trying to build a structure of motivation that has spiritual power in it, that conquers sin and produces love. And I haven't even mentioned the word gratitude for an hour and 45 minutes. So what's wrong with me? So I began in that little trailer down there in Barnesville, Georgia, to see whether or not I could make sweeping statements. Because they're very risky when you have your favorite theologians who are living saying the opposite of what you say. Nowhere in the Bible is gratitude connected explicitly with obedience as a motivation. That's a sweeping statement if there ever was one. So if you know an exception to that, email me, bring it to me, write it on a piece of paper. I know one where people often go, and I think there's an answer for it. Christian obedience is called the work of faith, never the work of gratitude. We find expressions like live by faith and walk by faith, but never expression like live by gratitude and walk by gratitude. We find the expression faith working through love, but not gratitude working through love. We read that the goal of our instruction is love from a good heart and a good conscience and sincere faith, but not from sincere gratitude. We read that faith without works is dead, not gratitude without works is dead. And when Jesus deals with the disciples' hesitancy to seek the kingdom first because they were worried about food and clothing, He did not say, "O men of little gratitude." He said, "O men of little faith." Faith in future grace, not gratitude, is the source of radical risk-taking, kingdom-seeking obedience. That's an overstatement. If I rewrote that paragraph, I wouldn't say it that absolutely. Let me see if I can say it the way I might say it if I were to write it again. I picture gratitude and faith as two absolutely indispensable acts of the soul. If you have no gratitude, you're not saved. If you have no faith, you're not saved. And I see them in my soul having a conversation with each other, talking about their assigned roles from God in my life. They each have a role to play. And gratitude is standing on the waterfall where the future cascades over the present of my life and gathers in the reservoir of history, and He's looking back. He always is looking back. And He's singing His heart out over what He sees of God's accumulated history of grace, both in redemptive history recorded in the Bible with the cross standing at the center, and in my little 59-year history of all God's blessings. And He's looking out over the past of my life and the past of history, and He's just saying, God is great. God is faithful. Oh, glorious God, I thank You for all that You have done for me. That's gratitude speech. And faith is listening to Him. And that is very important, that faith hear that. And gratitude turns to faith and says, "Do you see that? You hear me? Now do your job." And faith is looking to the future. You do your job. And faith says, on the basis of the cross, He did not spare His own Son. On the basis of 53 years of knowing God who has never let me down, 1 hour of my life, I will now embrace with complete certainty the promises of God for my future. So you can see I do not belittle gratitude, and this not gratitude is an overstatement. Gratitude has a function in informing faith what it can bank on and celebrating past. I don't want to be too picky here. I hear people pray, I thank you for what you're going to do this afternoon. I don't think there's any sentence in the Bible like that. It's not a sin to pray like that. I think it's much more biblical to say, I totally trust you for all the good you're going to do this afternoon. If you want to project yourself forward and express gratitude already for what's going to happen, there's kind of a time machine going on here. But in the Bible, gratitude is massively, gloriously happy with what God has done for us in the past. And we ought to sing it and celebrate it like crazy.